TLO right now on that screen, he looks pretty pumped up to me. I think he has a lot of adrenaline going right now. This will be a big win if he can get it. Now let's take a look at these players. Down here in the bottom left, he is our German Zerg leading one game. He is...
Liquid TLO from Europe.
And up here in the top right, our French Zerg, the best foreigner of all time, he is...
Eiji Stefano Reiko from Europe.
All right. The great observing that you see on this stream done by Heaven Dawn. Of course, we do have Legend on the other stream, two great observers for StarCraft 2. Big cheers to them. Now, Neoplanet S. You know, it's kind of an interesting map. It's got the two paths around, and that's really one of the biggest two features here. There's the two paths, and then there's the third base. Where do you take the third base? Well, the high ground one is generally considered the base that you take. Now, it has two paths going up to it, of course. And it's, you know, it's not too far away, but it's a little bit far away. Like when we compare it to Daybreak that we just saw, it's definitely longer to go over there. So it's going to be a little bit harder to defend. You also have to choose, am I going to go creep or am I not going to go creep? Because if you go creep, of course, that's going to help your opponent's units, but it could help you out defensively as well. Like, for instance, if you want to go Mutalisk Ling and you're playing against someone that's going Roach, you're probably not going to want creep because the Roach player is going to want creep because you have the mobile army. So that may sound kind of weird that in ZVZ, if you have the more mobile army, at times you're going to be the one that doesn't want the creep because you're more mobile off creep, and creep just helps mobility. We'll see if that comes into play. I think that Stefano is the more likely player to go for any sort of Mutalisk play here. And TLO definitely, I would say, less likely. I think that he'll probably stick mostly to Lings and Banes, and we could see Roaches as well out of him. And of course, as we get into the later game, Roaches turn into some Hydras as well. We could see some Fungals. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to see Stormhost or not. Stormhost could be something that becomes a staple of very late game ZVZ in the future, but I feel like you actually need like 4 secured bases to actually go for Stormhost at the moment. It's just... it takes them a long time to become cost efficient, and when you have the exact same weapons of your opponent, I'm not sure that they become cost efficient on 3 bases. Alright, so Stefano getting that speed, continuing to mine as well. TLO actually a lot later on his gases here. So he's going to be playing a little bit more defensively. We could see Stefano put on aggression at some point. Still has only 1 gas though. But he does have 3 drones on it. We'll have to see if that's going to be for just some slight Baneling aggression, because when your opponent doesn't have Banelings, if you have just like 1 or 2, that's oftentimes enough if they don't have a Spine Crawler and they don't have at least 2 Queens of that natural. So he does throw down the Baneling nest, and it does look like it's going to be like some light aggression. This doesn't look too all-in or anything, just get in there. And in fact, you can see on the production tab, he's adding 3 drones afterwards. So this is just some light aggression. He'll make probably a few Banelings. He might actually engage before Banelings and see what it looks like and then decide if he wants any offensive Banelings. But I don't expect him to deal too much damage here, especially since TLO is already getting that Spine Crawler. So TLO is actually going for the Roach Warren as opposed to a Baneling Nest. So I don't really expect to see a Baneling Nest unless he goes for an all-in with it. Right now, the drones just being microed against these Speedlings. Any drones that he can kill and any mining time he can force lost is actually very worthwhile. Every little mineral matters a lot in this matchup. So it looks like, I think he killed 2 there. He's actually killed a total of 4 drones this game, which is absolutely not bad at all. Completely worth what he's done thus far. You can see that he does have that 7 supply lead, but more importantly, you know, he put the money into Lings instead of drones, and now he has a 1 drone advantage. So that's really what he's aiming for, and that's what he's accomplished. Now he is getting double evolution chamber. This is actually going to be pretty cool. I can't wait to see if he gets ranged attack or melee attack here. As far as TLO goes, he is getting a Baneling Nest, realizing that he's going to need some, and he's making roaches too. So this might end up being a roach baneling attack. And against these double evos, okay, it is a ranged and a roach warren, because if he was going for the double evo zerglings and your opponent goes for roach baneling, the roach baneling can absolutely just kill you. You have to get either a roach warren against that or a ton of spine crawlers, and the odds of that getting done in time on this map would have been pretty small. But with his roach warren coming along, he may be able to defend this attack. It's going to be very hard, though. TLO is hitting this very quickly. In fact, he's going to have 12 roaches, not all of them hitting at the front. Now, this is really important. That was so important. If he hadn't done that, the banelings would have been ready right as the roaches walked by them, and that would have been terrible for him, because he needs to buy time right now for his own 8 roaches we see in the production tab making. So Stefano's doing a really good job. He's buying a lot of time right now. He's actually, these lings are not that consequential because banelings are being made. Really, it's all about his defensive roaches. He'll target down banes, and then he'll have extra lings to help clean that up as well. So good defense here from Stefano. In fact, I have to give Stefano definitely an edge, definitely an advantage at this point, because he has a layer and he has 1-1, whereas TLO is basically all-inning right here. 13 Banes, this now classifies as an all-in. He has to get a lot of damage done, or Stefano's going to have a gigantic lead with this 1-1 and layer tech. In fact, he'll probably just upgrade roach speed and do a counter push when that's finishing. And that, beautiful defense from Stefano. Really got a lot of banelings there that were clumped up. Those baneling hits from TLO, not the best. But he does have a lot of units here. It looks like the attack is basically held. And as long as Stefano does nothing but make units right now, he's golden. You know, as far as upgrades, he has his +1 range attack, so now he's going to be 2-shotting Zerglings. He's just finished that +1 armor, so that's a GG. The all-in not quite working there. Really good defense. I think the main thing to take away from that game is as soon as Stefano realized what was going on there, he ran his lings out because he had good Overlord coverage and he saw some banelings morphing. And he immediately went after them with his Zerglings. And that is extremely important. When you're waiting for your roaches, he has to buy time for roaches because he only has lings up to that point. So that was a really nice move. He bought enough time. He gave up a lot of lings. You know, he just kind of like moved them across the army, took a lot of hits, and then just kind of attacked into some units that he never could have beaten with them. But it slows those units down. It makes them stop and kill the lings and then move forward. Because the lings against that many Banes, how many Banes do we see? Like 20 total. The lings are going to be less than useless. They do nothing there. So he's just sitting there trying to let his upgrades finish. Of course, the battle's basically decided before the upgrades finish, but he needs the roaches to finish and as many roaches as possible to pop out. So Stefano basically blocked that all in pretty much perfectly. If he had gotten his roach warren a little bit later, TLO would have killed him there for sure. So everything kind of just working out very well for him. He got a little bit of that information with his speedling push, but of course, with the overlords laid out on both sides really well, he saw the roaches coming and was able to make that big group of roaches. So our next map is going to be Belshir Vestige, and it is tied up